around and saw the mountain was far behind her. She had finally reached safety. Thorn flew past her and into the hollow tree. Amy reached the tree and crawled inside, puffing and panting with sheer exhaustion. "What was that all about, Thorn? We were supposed to rescue them, not chicken out." Thorn gasped. He tried to catch his breath and frantically pointed to her pocket. Amy reached into her pocket and carefully took Cherry out and sat her on a leafy bed. Cherry looked at Amy and Thorn. She was very puzzled. One minute they were charging up the mountain, the next minute they're charging back down. All she could say was, "Why are we back here?" Thorn, who had now caught up with his own breath, looked at Cherry and said, "I don't know how to tell you this." "Tell me what?" "What, Thorn? What's wrong?" Cherry began to panic. Thorn hung his head and rubbed his eyes. He looked up and said, "Do you remember about a year ago, Fairyland had this big monster named Death, and the Queen Diamond fought him and banished him? He was destroyed, right?" Cherry's face became rather serious. Her beautiful smile had gone. The sparkle in her eyes had also vanished. "Yeah, Thorn, he was destroyed. I saw him, and so did you. Why do you ask such a silly question?"
Okay. Julie, the magical gate. Tell me a little bit about the magical gate.
Well, basically, it's about a little girl who really, really wants an adventure. And she goes into her garden and she finds this beautiful magical gate that's just appeared out of nowhere. She goes through it and she finds this beautiful little fairy, which is Cherry. And she's what's known as the sparkle fairy that led her to the gate. And Amy finds out that she is the chosen one to save Fairyland from the evil grips of Shadow. But the question is, does she? Does she take the mission or does she leave it?
I'm about to ask you, does she? And you're going to say...
Yes, she does.
How long did it take you to write the book?
It took me about a year. The ideas that I got from it was taken from little bits from when I was little, with my dad, because my dad, I think, he was the inspiration for me to write, because he would tell me little stories from when I was little and stuff like that. Like if he didn't want me to touch anything, he'd say there was a toadstool in the garden at one point, and he turned around and he said, "Don't touch it." He said, "That belongs to an evil goblin." He says, "And if you touch it," he said, "he's going to put a nasty spell on you." I thought, "Oh, I'm not touching that." But it fed my imagination for when I was older, and other different things that my dad said, so it all fed me, till in the end I sat there and I thought, I want to write a fairy book. I want an adventure.
So now you've written your first book, any plans for a second book?
Yes, I've done the sequel. That's all ready to go. This one I want to get launched first, on its way, before the sequel comes out. The sequel's a bit different. There's a lot more that's gone into it, a lot more. Amy is now older, and she has her child, and her child is basically taken, and the adventure begins with trying to find her daughter.
So could the character Amy, in theory, you could grow up with her,
Yes.
you could be writing this in 20, 30 years' time?
That's right. Yeah, the older she gets, she has grandchildren, etc, etc. Yeah, you can go.
What age group is this aimed at?
I would say 7 upwards, but I've known that 4-year-olds have enjoyed it. They've read it. One of them play-acts it in the bath every night. I had an email from her mum and she said, "Thank you for your work." So it's really nice.
What's the writing process? Do you sit in a quiet room on your own, or what happens?
Basically, to write this one, I sat in my bedroom and shut myself away. And sometimes I can go downstairs, I can watch telly and still write. Once I get in my little writing corner, as I call it, there's nothing that can distract me.
There are lots of people who probably say that they've got a book in them, but you've taken the next stage on actually done it. So what's your advice to people who say, "I've got a book in me, but I've never done it"? Go for it.
Go for it. If they feel that they've got a book in them, as that is my theory, is there's a book in everybody. you know, so just write it. Start with an idea. That's what I did. I started with an idea that I was interested in, which was fairies, and it grew. You look around, you see things, you look at like cobwebs that are frosty. Like the other day I was looking at a cobweb that was all frosty, and I was thinking of beginning of another book, and so on, you know. So yeah, just go for it. If you've got a book in you, good luck.
Julie, thank you very much.